Welcome, professional wrestling fans, to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for the fans. And we've been running for now 85 episodes. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 85, and we are on our journey to 100. I am your host, your grumpy old school wrestling fan, collector, barber, singer, and musician. Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Funko Pop collector, Booker Andy.
I'm also the host, the No Selling Wrestling Indie fan and football lover, Jeremy.
Well, boys, we are all here tonight. We're going to be talking some wrestling, RASSLIN. That spells wrestling. First of all, we're going to be talking about Night of Champions, Double or Nothing, and more. You know, we got our usual show stuff that we got to talk about. Before we get started on the show, I'm going to make it quick. And you guys have been doing it lately. I appreciate it. I've been seeing the subscribers go up. Go to YouTube, search the PW Fan, hit the subscribe button. That really helps us out. All our social media, all you got to do is look up at the PW Fan, and we should pop right up. And, as always, we got shirts on ProWrestlingTees.com/the PW Fan. 5 different shirt designs total with some new ones coming. Jeremy's going to get his exclusive shirt coming this year. That's our next one. Should be pretty cool. And Andy
soon.
Yeah. Andy has 2 different designs up there. And there's 3 different PW Fan logo shirts. So I like our shirts. I actually find them very wearable. And stick around for the end of the show so we can talk about our classic show of the week, which this week isn't really a show per se, but we're going to honor somebody and we're going to look up some stuff. So, all right, Andy, let's talk about some wrestling. We got 2 big pay-per-views to talk about. We got our normal shows. Here we go.
All right. Raw this past week opened up with something that happened earlier in the show before the show actually started, I guess. Brock Lesnar attacked Cody Rhodes backstage before the show even started, which I guess we'll talk a little bit more about that later when the Brock segment happens. But when the show officially started, Paul Heyman was out in the ring and basically said that he couldn't take credit for the Lesnar attack. But Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn came out, and it was all about the whole segment was basically hyping up the match for this weekend. All these shows are go-home shows this week. So we're going to be plowing through a little bit fast for them. We had an interview with Seth Rollins and Corey Graves where this time around, because they did some last week, he talks a little bit about Roman Reigns' title reign and then his upcoming match with AJ Styles at the pay-per-view. Talking about how good AJ is. And he was also talking about, I think it was this interview, he talks about how, Roman's like a Cena and Hogan, and Seth is more of like a Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, and you kind of need those guys for
that makes sense
for them. Yeah, I believe it was this interview. I'm pretty sure.
If I may,
yes.
I mean, yeah, especially the time period of wrestling that I like. Yeah, you always had your big players, and then you had your kind of. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. You're like your players that kind of, I can't even think of the right words, to be honest with you, but
they're the top guys, but they're not the face of the company.
Yeah,
like,
but
they're not where even non-wrestling fans would know who they are.
Yeah, I want to keep using the word mechanical. That's why I keep getting stumped and like at a loss for words, but they're the guys that you can depend on to have a great match. Which over the years, you had your The Rocks and Stone Colds, which Stone Cold was a great worker in his own right, and The Rock always put on a very entertaining match. But then you had guys on the undercard that were doing more, harder work rate, and then especially in like WCW.
Well, Rollins has compared himself to Triple H.
Yeah, like Triple H.
Like he was never the face of it. Yeah.
Triple H was always having bangers on the not even the undercard, but like if he wasn't in the main event, he was in like the right below the main event. Like he would be doing a program with Mick Foley, while somebody else might be doing something with Stone Cold. So he was always right there. But yeah, key players.
And it wasn't until those guys went away that he became basically the main guy until Cena became the face.
But
yeah, key players is a good way to put it.
I know it's like a controversial guy to bring up, and one of them is not. One of them is great to bring up, but WrestleMania 20, Benoit and Eddie Guerrero both kind of had their moment of like those are two examples of guys that they're not gonna be like like Hollywood's calling and all this blah blah blah, but they're gonna be there every day and they work hard, and then it's a different type of respect, I think.
He's a good hand.
Nah, he's more than a good hand. Don't call him a good hand.
All right, let's keep pushing forward though, because we got a big show. I believe there was an AJ Styles video package that kind of went through his career and about how he's basically been everywhere, including showing his debut. But then we had a segment from Brock Lesnar who said, or he declared that Cody wouldn't be able to fight him at Night of Champions, and he issued an open challenge for the pay-per-view. But then Cody Rhodes ended up coming out in an arm sling. And Brock ended up, I believe, putting him in a Kimura lock until, he felt like letting go, and Adam Pearce called for medical. And I think it was at the end of the night, but I'll talk about it now. That way we can just finish with, one thing. At the end of the night, though, Triple H found him backstage in the locker room and was trying to convince him, I guess, not to wrestle at Night of Champions. But Cody was like, "What would you do?" And yeah, I mean, I don't know what the purpose of that was, but
Cody's already wrestled with a torn pec.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was to give a credibility or give Cody. I don't know, man. They needed a big name like Triple H to get behind Cody, I guess. It was a whole ordeal. And then last thing I want to talk about from Raw is the Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch contract signing. This was actually, I really enjoyed this segment, mainly because of the things that Becky said. She kind of tore down Trish. Jeremy, did you get to see this?
Not too much of this one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it in a way, Becky kind of cut one of the best promos she's had in a long time. And Trish cut a really good promo during this whole ordeal, but I believe it ended up with Trish flipping the table onto Becky and leaving the ring before anything could happen. So that wrapped up Raw. Let's quickly get into Dynamite, unless you guys have anything else to add.
No, Dynamite sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dynamite open. All right, it did not open with this, but the first thing we're going to talk about with Dynamite is the
Did Dynamite open with
FTR
the Orange Cassidy match?
Yeah, Orange Cassidy versus Kyle Fletcher.
It did actually? I was just joking.
Oh, yeah. What a surprise, right? We had an FTR promo that I think ended up having some tension with Mark Briscoe and Dax. I think Mark ended up slapping Dax for his pile driver the week before, I believe.
Yeah.
Mark Briscoe still, though, is not on one side or the other. I guess he's still kind of torn. But this whole segment was to hype up their match for the pay-per-view. We had a 4-pillar segment. And I'll just talk about... So it was basically everyone talking to one another before their final match. And I'll go through some of the quotes that are online here. MJF said, "I feel like I want Jungle Boy Jack Perry to be thrown into an echo chamber so he can listen to himself speak and bore himself to death." MJF reminded the fans and Tony Khan that his contract is coming up. He said, "You should be worried because I might just take my ball and go home." There goes MJF again, mentioning things
CM Punk
like
stuff, right?
WWE and things. Yeah,
That's what Punk said, right? Take my ball and go home.
It's
I think
funny,
so.
though, I just watched a video I just watched I guess Andy will bring it up later, but he talks at the press conference more about what he meant when he said,
Oh, yeah.
go home. I did watch the press conference also today at some point.
Yeah, MJF had the best part of the press conference for sure. Tony Khan, though, I'll let you guys I know you guys are hyped for this. Tony Khan announced the Collision location for the first show, which is, drumroll, Chicago.
Chicago. Yeah, it was down to either Daly's place in Jacksonville or Chicago, and I guess I got everything figured out.
Like Mussolini.
So that means I think we can all assume. I think we can all.
And also,
I'm the cult of personality.
And also, I saw Punk's Instagram when he actually is promoting the show
posted
now.
the song, and he also posted a song called "Collision" or something.
Yeah.
Neon lights, Nobel Prize.
You got anything to add besides the song? Jesus Christ!
I think we all know how I feel about it.
Also, the fact that
I'm so
loving how
happy
Tony
I'm breaking
Khan's
out in song. So happy I'm breaking.
Me and
out.
Tim got heated. Me and Tim got heated last night because I said Punk isn't the best wrestler in the world.
Oh no!
We
I'm
both
surprised he
agreed
let
to
you
that.
out of his house.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
the
so
Tony Khan announcements crack me up every time because I don't think he blinks in like the 5 minutes that he's talking. It's almost like a staring contest I try every time now.
you tried with him.
Yeah, just like staring at her.
But after the announcement, we had later on the Jericho and Adam Cole signing. What do you think of this segment?
It felt like very WWE, as in like Vince WWE. Which usually AEW, I think AEW really ever does contract signings, so I was kind of surprised it did this. And then also, I mean, I don't know if you want to go through the whole thing with like Sabu, but it kind of doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I want to go into the thing with Sabu because he announced Sabu's going to be there. Why?
Yeah,
no
but I was like,
explanation. No
it doesn't
explanation of why he's going to be there.
It doesn't make
Makes no
sense because then why would
sense.
Jericho sign off on it?
No,
Like Jericho
it's
has to
a-
sign the contract with it in it.
It's because Tony Khan's an ECW mark, and was just like, oh, Sabu will be the referee. How great will that be? Just because. That's all it is.
Yeah, Adam Cole was like, he's homicidal. I was like, homicide's coming, like back, and then he was like suicidal,
Genocidal.
genocidal,
Yeah.
and then he's like Sabu, and then Sabu barely walks his way out there.
And throws a chair at Jericho, right?
Yeah,
He's like,
He's like the special enforcer.
And I'm like, oh, Lord, who is he talking about?
Yeah. But also,
main
once we
event,
get
though-
to the actual match
sorry.
itself, for the actual match for that one, it'll make less sense.
yeah. Our main event though of Dynamite was Lucha Brothers. They defeated versus the BCC. They defeated them, and Moxley gets on the mic though afterwards and talks about the upcoming match, saying it's going to be like the most violent and I don't know. He's saying it's like
We're
you
gonna
ain't seen
bleed,
nothing
man.
yet, basically.
We're going to bleed. Yeah.
Yeah, he vowed that it would be the most brutal, violent match in AEW history.
Yeah.
It was a lot of blood.
Yeah, except for two guys didn't bleed at all. Maybe three.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
All right, SmackDown really quick, and then we can talk about the pay-per-views. Backstage, Jimmy Uso stood up to Roman Reigns, only to be talked down by Jay. Roman ended up taunting Jimmy and reminded him of what happened between them when they were kids. Cameron Grimes defeated Ashante the Adonis. Tim says who? He is part of Hit Row. He's not Flop Dollar. He's the other guy.
Flop Dollar.
I don't think Michael Cole will ever let that go.
But Cameron Grimes has defeated him in his second match, and Baron Corbin, who he squashed the week before, attacked afterwards. So it looks like this is going to be Cameron Grimes' first feud, and I've told you before I'm a fan of Cameron Grimes. If you guys don't really know who he is.
I know who he is.
There was a Asuka and Bianca segment to hype up their upcoming match, and LA Knight defeated Rick Boogs.
LA Knight.
Rick.
Just letting you know, LA Knight is way over.
LA Knight is super over.
He's super over. They piped in crowd boos because they're trying to keep him heel. They're trying to keep him heel for however they move forward with him.
Why? I don't understand why companies do that.
I don't know. The reason why I say super over, though, is if you caught the Night of Champions press conference before the show, the crowd was chanting LA Knight, and he wasn't even there. They were chanting to Triple H. And apparently Triple H hears that, or he knows, basically. Someone, I think, said something to him on Twitter, and he knows that Knight's over. So I'm crossing my fingers, guys, that he wins Money in the Bank.
Triple H says he listens to the people, so if he actually does.
LA Knight's the man.
Yeah.
But he's better. He is good as a heel, so I guess that's what they're trying to do. But
he is, but like, that's why I'm like, I don't understand why the companies do this, because you have someone who organically gets over like crazy. Yep. It's like, then just go with it.
Tim, weren't you gonna add something before? I thought I kept talking. You were trying to say something. During the LA Knight stuff.
No, I mean, I think I just agree with Jeremy about just, if something's naturally getting over, just go with it. I mean, I'm not saying LA Knight's the next Stone Cold Steve Austin, but like Stone Cold Steve Austin's a guy that when he got over, it's because it naturally happened. He just leaned into it.
The
Rock.
Let's wrap up SmackDown.
The Rock had so much charisma, they just let it happen. LA Knight could be like that.
Yeah.
LA Knight's great. He's great on the mic. Solid in the ring. But SmackDown ended with the KO show. Well, sorry, before that, AJ Styles defeated Karrion Kross, who had his sights set on AJ last week. Match was
sorry.
fun.
Is AJ on SmackDown or Raw?
Yeah, he's on SmackDown.
Okay. So like even like tonight?
Tonight he even said, I know I'm normally on SmackDown, but he came there just for that segment, I guess. Or whatever's happening later. Which we'll talk about next week. Sorry. But the main event of the show was the KO show. The Usos and Paul Heyman come out. Jimmy Uso gets on the mic, and he has some words. He said, well, the main takeaway from Jimmy being on the mic was, when it comes to the day ones, I am the tribal chief. And Heyman is shocked, and he said, why would you do that? Or he's like, what did you do? And then Roman's music kicks, and Roman comes out. He stares at Jay. He stares at Jimmy. There's a brawl that goes down that the Bloodline ends up, winning. And the Usos each grab 2 of the titles. Jay gives his the solo, but Jimmy does not want to give his up. And so there's tension, and Jay has to grab him from Jimmy and give him to Roman. But we will talk about that more when we get to Night of Champions. Tension, yes. Before we get to Night of Champions, one little thing to talk about with Rampage is that I don't remember, or maybe someone does, what happened with Isaiah Cassidy. Yeah, Rampage happened. But Isaiah Cassidy would not be in the Double or Nothing match with the Hardys. Instead, Hook will be. So they announced that Hook was going to replace him. But let's get into these pay-per-views. They were, in my opinion, night and day. Would you guys agree? Anything to say before we actually get into the deets? WWE won this weekend, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I would say if there's winning, then that's WWE. I would say that shows are just drastically different.
All right. Let's just get into it. Night Champions. Okay, before we get into it, I've talked to you guys about this. My gripe, and I think it's a lot of people's gripe with this, what they've been doing lately. At least with Night Champions, they were like, it's a triple main event. Seth
I
Rollins
hate
and
that.
AJ, Brock and Cody, and then the tag match. It's like, no, man, there's one main event.
Yeah.
It's the one that goes on last.
Everyone knows
Stop
that.
trying to make it seem like every match is as important as the main
Yeah.
one.
That was the same thing like he said, I think he said in the group chat about like that's what they told Punk when he faced
That's what they
Undertaker.
told Punk when he faced Undertaker. They were like, no, like that's the main event. Like, no,
And
dude, the main event is the
Punk's
one that
like-
closes out the show.
It's like the Mellow Show.
As long as Roman is on the card, he's gonna close out the show. It just seems that way.
Yeah.
So they called this one of the main events, even though it opened up the show. But
Yeah. Which actually, sorry, one last thing. You actually, AEW did the same thing where they said it's a double main event.
yeah, because the other one was basically a lights out in a way.
Yeah.
MJF said though he didn't want to. He's like, no, I'm fine. Don't want to wrestle on Moxley's blood.
Yeah.
His
That was funny.
nasty blood or whatever. Okay, Night of Champions opened up with Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles to crown the first World Heavyweight Champion. Well, not really the first, but the first since Randy Orton before they were unified. But it's the first of this new version of the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah.
I thought the match was a very good opener. It was a very good, just classic wrestling match. Started a little slow and then really got going. Both guys are, well, I guess me and Tim we said like, Seth's in his prime. AJ's coming out of his prime, but
Yeah.
they still put on a very, very good match. But the winner, and deservingly so, as much as I like AJ, was Seth Rollins.
And
It
was my match of the week.
Ooh.
Match of the
I
week.
was just about to say this would have been the match of the night if the main event didn't happen.
Main event story line
Story
was
was, yeah.
very good.
Yes.
AJ hit a pedigree during this match, I believe.
He did.
I think AJ hit a pedigree during this match. I'm trying to remember though how it ended exactly.
Well, the curb stomp won, but he
It was a calf crusher, and then they were working Seth's leg throughout it, but it was the curb stomp that did it. He like rolled out. They were doing in a calf crusher, and then like rolled out, and I forget what happened, but Seth kicked him, and then he curb stomped him, I believe, and Seth won.
Yeah.
Very good match though. Very good opener. I think I called it that they would probably open up with this match.
Yeah, because of course Roman has to go on last, so.
Yeah. Our second match was Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch. This match was very good. Trish can go better than most legends that come back.
So much better than most.
This match was solid.
Yeah, it was like because how old is she? Do you know? Is she like 45? I mean, that's
Jamie,
like.
Can you look that up?
Yeah.
Jamie, can you look that up? Have you ever heard of
She
DMT?
is 47.
47.
She's 47. She's 47.
That's really good for. I mean,
Wow, that's crazy.
she was better
Have you
than
ever-
like most.
And Becky is 36.
Wow.
Wow.
Beck's still young.
Hey guys, that's crazy. Have you ever tried DMT? There's gorillas in South Africa that are starting to fish with spears. It's fucking crazy. These big fucking apes are huge.
You got to kill your inner bitch, man. You got to kill your inner bitch.
My inner Joe Rogan.
Oh my god.
Have you ever taken On It? It's really great. It's good. It's good for your brain.
Is that?
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
Alpha Brain?
I
Sorry,
get up
that's
in
what it's
the
called. On
morning.
It's
I
not,
take
please.
my alpha brain. I hit the gym. I'm fucking. It's
Ice bath.
crazy.
All right. Anyway, I actually do like Joe Rogan. So
I was gonna say a lot of people are gonna be like, "Who? What are they doing?"
yeah. Anyway, all because of the Jamie comment. Jesus. Very good match though. I forget what I wish I could remember like when we do this what our predictions were. But
we gotta
Zoe
just watch it
Stark was underneath the ring, and she came out and she hit her finisher on Becky, which might have it. Well, look at her now. I don't think it broke her nose, but it busted her open.
Yeah, she was busted open.
Trish Stratus though would end up getting the win. I thought this was a great second match, also on the card.
Yeah. So where do they go from here then with Trish? You said we said Lita, right?
We said Lita, but we'll see. unless they do a tag match and it's Becky and Lita versus Trish and Zoe
I would prefer that.
at like Money in the Bank coming up or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like that's one of the two. Or yeah, I don't know. Because now Becky has something going on with Zoe and Lita is still the one that got attacked by Trish.
Right. Yeah.
So all right, our third match, Gunther versus Mustafa Ali for the Intercontinental Championship. Mustafa Ali had a great reception with his entrance. And, I compare this match to your typical big guy underdog, but the underdog actually, did some work. Kind of like, AJ Styles versus Brock or Danielson versus Brock.
Yeah.
Eddie Guerrero versus Brock, except for Eddie ended up winning those matches and AJ and the rest of them did not.
Right.
But Mustafa Ali, to me showed that he could go, and apparently the people backstage, I mean, they knew that he could go, but it showed apparently to them, I read, that he could be in that spot. And with his big reception over there, I read that, maybe this isn't true, but they're going to be doing something with him moving forward.
I mean, I hope so. He's actually a really good wrestler.
The match was good. I mean, it wasn't that long, but he got to shine, and
Those
at least for the audience there, I think they almost made them believe that he could win.
I was going to say that it was like two spots where it felt like he could actually win.
This was probably, I mean, I'm sure there's other Mustafa Ali matches that I should have been paying more attention to, but this was good.
I mean, if you watch he was in the cruiserweight tournament.
I remember him versus Cedric.
Yeah, that match was great. He had a bunch.
They did that in Australia, whatever that big pay-per-view they had was. It was in like a Coliseum thing, but
oh right.
Triple H faced Taker for like the last time, if you remember that a couple of years ago.
Oh, that was not good, right?
Oh no, Mustafa Ali, never mind. At that faced Buddy Murphy, and Buddy Murphy is from Australia. He ended up winning the Cruiserweight Championship, and
right,
it was the whole thing. Anyway. Neither here nor there. But I feel like that match though for Ali is the kind of match that if he were to come out like tonight or something, people would probably cheer him more than before.
Yeah, I think so. Just based on that.
Who the heck are these Jobber brothers that are on TV right now?
I told you, it's Indus Sher. One is Veer that used to be on the main roster. Vince tried to do something with him. And then the other guy's from NXT, and they became a team when Jinder went back to NXT, and Jinder's kind of in a it's a terrible gimmick, all right? Let's just say that. We'll talk about it next week if
Is
you want.
Jinder the manager?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
He's wrestled a few times with them in NXT, but yeah, it's terrible.
We need to record Tim's reaction when he's watching this, like Raw or something, because he'll be like halftime is like, "Who's this? Who are these people?
Who is this gentleman?"
But Gunther ended up retaining. Next, we had Bianca Belair versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Another good match, I thought.
I was like,
I did not expect the outcome. And in the end, Asuka, instead of spraying Bianca with the mist, she sprayed it on her fingers. And when Bianca put her up for her finisher, Asuka ended up rubbing her fingers on Bianca's eyes and blinding her. And Asuka, I believe it was her kick that she did. And she ended up winning, and she is now the champion. I was surprised at that outcome, but
I'm kind of glad because I feel like Bianca needed, that was a long run, but
she's had it over a year. She's the longest reigning modern era, I think, champion.
Yeah.
Women's champion.
Yeah.
Yeah. She had it for over a year. She had it for over a year. I was just thinking, I was like, maybe Charlotte, but apparently not. So
Yeah.
I also felt like Becky had it a long time, but I guess she surpassed her.
Yeah, she did.
So Asuka's your new SmackDown Women's Champion.
That was a
This
wild
next match,
that
Rhea
was a
Ripley.
wild ending. Watching that with Andy, we were both shocked.
Oh yeah, we just didn't see it coming. You know, I expected Bianca to get the pin.
Well, also on these Saudi Arabia shows, you don't expect titles to change hands like this because they haven't done that usually.
No, it's usually nothing changes.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, you're right about that. But this was a good show. It was the best Saudi Arabia show I think that they've put on.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's
And
also the
that's
best one that
because
meant something.
It's also the first Saudi Arabia show that Triple H has put on. So
That's true.
I'm just saying. But we had another women's title match next. It was for the Raw Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley versus Natalya. Rhea attacked Natalya before the bell even rang and kind of threw her around on the outside in the steps onto the table. And it was over pretty quickly. It was kind of like a squash match, all based around the fact that Rhea got the jump on her before the bell even rang.
That's
that's
what should have happened.
Yeah. I didn't expect it to be like that, but
yeah,
you know, it doesn't hurt Natalya as bad. Not that she's like really doing much, but the fact that it was like a cheap victory, I guess.
Yeah.
So we have our second main event. Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Cody comes out with his hand in like I guess you can call it a cast.
Yeah, they kept calling it some like I don't know what kind of cast. They're like, this is such a, I don't know, top of the line cast or whatever he's wearing.
But before we get into the winner, what you guys think of this match?
I thought it was,
Cody used the cast.
Yeah, it was still good.
Without it.
I guess we're gonna see a third match between these two.
I think so. How about you, Tim? I remember watching with you, and Brock just fucking tosses people, dude.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good match. I'd like to see another one. I think they could do one more, and then that'd be it. Settle it there.
So the whole story of the match, if y'all didn't see it, not you guys, but the listeners, was based around Cody's arm and working Cody's arm, and so at one point Brock got Cody in a first of all, because Tim loved it. Hey, Cody takes the F5 the best. All right,
he takes it the best,
dude. Cody takes the best F5 because he does it
because he puts his legs together.
He does it how people did it in 2002. If you go back and watch like,
The Rock took it the same way.
Yeah, The Rock. There's this thing that they do where you put your legs straight together and you do this perfect spin and you like land perfectly on your stomach. And dude, it looks so good when you do it like that.
Tim's Cody Rhodes getting beat down with an F5 looks great.
For some reason, at the end of Brock's first WWE run, which he started doing again, probably up until Cody just recently, he did this thing what I call the sloppy F5, where he just like picks you up and like throws you as hard as he can, and you just like spin. But like I liked when it was like a beautiful, like perfectly like bam, like landed on your stomach like that. It looks so good.
Yeah, Cody took it great. He did kick out of the F5. That is not how. So Brock ended up winning the match. That's not how he lost, though. So after a Kimura lock for a while, Cody did grab the rope. He did try to win with how he won at Backlash, which was being in the Kimura lock and then rolling Brock up into a pin. But Brock countered that this time. And so the second time Brock held the Kimura lock for a long time, I guess Cody passed out from, the pain is what it's supposed to be.
I think that's what we're going for.
So Brock doesn't get another consecutive loss, and Cody, it doesn't really hurt him because his arm was broken. Andy didn't tap. Andy didn't get pinned.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win kind of for everyone. But yes, I think it's going to get to Money in the Bank.
Do you think they're going to put a stipulation on this one, the next one?
I don't know, man.
I feel like they're gonna do something like, I don't know, be a cell or a steel cage, I
I
should say.
I know this is a complete side note, but it's just, kind of funny comedy for the side of the YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube right now, I just realized that my closet doors are open and realized that there's not even a stitch of color. It's all black t-shirts. Like all hanging like right above my like not even one shirt breaking up like 100 black t-shirts.
I can't
Sorry.
see it, but I know when we upload to YouTube, you can see more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
it'll
yeah,
be a
you'll
wider
able to see it.
angle. Yeah, that's
Emo
fine.
mode.
This is like the only. I have very few white shirts. This is like the one out of the 3 shirts that I have that are not black.
When you're 32 but emo
Um,
is still life.
Yeah, my closet's the same way. But no, to your point about the Cody and Brock stipulation, what I was just thinking when you mentioned that, I was like, Brock's never been in a ladder match. Oh,
Yeah.
I guess technically that Money in
Oh,
the
Money
Bank
in the
that
Bank. Yeah,
he came in last minute and
that
climbed
he
up.
wasn't a part of, but won it.
Yeah. Yeah. Mustafa Ali was at the top and he was about to win it, and then
Yeah.
Brock just comes out.
I love Sammy right now. Sammy's so over. It's awesome. That new Sammy shirt's cool with the SZ in pink.
Oh yeah.
Is it in pink? Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
it
the
is.
It's like
But
the
it also
Kevin Owens
matches, like,
shirt, but it's yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So yes, I do think though they're gonna have another match. And yeah, like you said, it's probably gonna have some kind of stipulation.
Yeah.
Which is what you do when you go back and forth with feuds, and you got the final one to end it all.
Yeah. It should be the final one. Like this should be it.
Let's get to this main event because I loved it. The story's been great, and I think it's still gonna continue to be good after this. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships.
Championship.
So before we talk about championships, so before we get into like the ending of it, I thought the match was good. Roman wanted, Roman and Sami every time they got to get. That's what it seemed. It seemed like Sami and Roman had their thing going on, then Kevin and like Solo
Yeah.
had their thing going on, but eventually the Usos came out and got involved, and I think they super kick Sami and they go for another one, but Sami ducks and they hit Solo accidentally. Roman ends up getting angry and he shoves Jimmy's face and he shoves Jay's face. And then, man, me and Tim are watching this together, and when Roman turns around, boom, Jimmy Uso super kicks Roman. Oh, it was great.
Yeah. I was waiting for it too.
This was. We'll get into this later. Some people were calling the Stadium Stampede match or whatever the fuck it was called peak wrestling, but let me tell you,
Anarchy in the Arena?
And some people call that peak wrestling. Let me tell you, you're all wrong. This was peak wrestling.
Such a good story, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy super kicks Roman, and Jay did the exact same thing that he did to Sami when Sami Zayn hit Roman with the chair. He was like, "Why would you do that?" But Jimmy doubles down and hits Roman again with a super kick. And I believe Kevin Owens stuns Solo. Sami hits him with a hell of a kick. And 1, 2, 3. Kevin and Sami retain, and the Usos get the fuck out of there. So I thought that this was going to happen, but I thought it was going to be this upcoming Friday that the Usos would turn because they're having the 1,000-day celebration with Roman this Friday. So things are going to be a little bit different now. It's not going to be so much of a celebration anymore.
Yeah. I really thought that they were going to put the tag team titles on Roman. Said he would just have 4 belts.
I thought that was going to happen, and then maybe like SummerSlam, they challenged the Usos.
Yeah.
Or the Usos challenged them.
Yeah.
But no, man, they pulled the trigger, and this is in my opinion, the end of the bloodline.
Oh yeah, because you only got Roman and Solo now,
and the Wise Man.
and the Wise Man.
So that wrapped up Night of Champions uh, all the way through. I'd give it 7 or
Wait,
8
are
out
we
of
doing
10.
are we doing our ratings now?
And I'm doing a rating. I thought it was great. It wasn't
just wanna-
perfect. I'm just saying it wasn't perfect, but it was very good.
I think I said last night that I gave it a 7 out of 10. If I, on a 10
You did.
ranking system.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
I just want to say, as far as the bloodline thing goes, the thing that sucks about it is like, it feels like it's gonna be a while before you get a storyline that is that good with the build up
Yeah.
and like just all the stuff. It's like, it's gonna take a while before we get something that makes you that like into it again.
Yeah,
Takes
once
years.
it's over,
I feel like it takes years for like a storyline like that to come around.
yeah.
Well,
'Cause
and the thing is, with this storyline, it was organic with the Sammy stuff because the fans and
The last
Yeah, and
one was
Sammy
it
was not
pretty
supposed to
fine.
be doing stuff with the bloodline this long.
yeah,
Sammy was
the-
not supposed
the
to be doing
difference-
stuff with this long, and it caught on.
the difference is that they actually went with like what the fans were cheering for, and then they
Triple
created.
H listens to the fans, man.
Yeah, they just need to always
But-
do that.
I believe was it at Mania or maybe before it was announced that Triple H had officially finished up all of Vince's storylines. So now everything moving forward is
Oh yeah.
his storylines, and then I guess Vince has input. But
I hate that he has input.
yeah, but yeah, I really liked Night of Champions. I thought it was the better of the two pay-per-views, which we haven't even talked about Double or Nothing yet.
Yeah. Well, since we're going to Double or Nothing, I'll just say I'll probably be the most positive one about Double or
Yeah,
Nothing.
warning to the fans, guys.
Yeah.
Bummer warning
So-
ahead, guys.
Yeah, but I will say overall of this Double or Nothing pay-per-view, before we actually talk about it, I don't know if you guys agree with this or not, but I feel like they're more focused on All In and Forbidden Door than they were on this one at all.
It could be.
Because AEW pay-per-views,
Tony Khan's also
have always been
starting
good.
a new show.
yeah, that's also a thing too. Yeah,
So, look, I'll try to be as nice as possible. As positive as possible with this pay-per-view. Before we get in, look, I think, Jeremy, you even agreed this was the worst in a while
yeah,
for AEW. When it comes to pay-per-views, it was not, in our opinion at least.
yeah. AEW has like high standards for pay-per-views too, because they usually, even if they're
Andy?
weekly show constructs.
Tim, what did
we-
Corny's buddy say?
No, well, Corny was like, "Wow, this might be." Brian last said, "Wow, this might be the worst AEW pay per view of all time." Woof.
Yeah,
But Andy, before we get started on the review, because I know everybody's gonna be like, "Well, Tim's gonna hate it and say that it was shitty or whatever." What did I tell you before we started? What didn't I go in with a great attitude? Wasn't I excited? And what did I say? That I was looking forward to it.
Tim
and-
actually said, "I'm actually really excited for this show more than Night of Champions."
well, was
See?
that real excitement, or was that you trying to fool your mind into thinking
No.
that?
I was at Andy could tell. I was actually excited. I
There's
was
something
like,
about nighttime and a pay-per-view that Tim enjoys.
I
and-
love like
Yeah.
you order the pay per view. You might like you're chilling with the bros. You got some drinks. I just love like the atmosphere. I was like ready. I was hyped up for some good wrestling, and I just was immediately like, "What the fuck?"
Well, I know Andy said that you guys didn't watch the buy-in, and I'll say that's a good.
We
Yeah.
had it
On the
on, but we were
computer.
in we had it on, but we were in a time crunch, so we were focusing on. I think we were watching the Roman match at the same time that the buy-in was on.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to pass it over to you for the buy-in.
Yeah.
So Double or Nothing, the buy-in was Ethan Page and the Guns versus Hook and the Hardys.
Right. Did you want me to go into it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My notes are a little messed up, so I gotta fix them. But
That's cool. Yeah. So this match, I don't know how many people had high expectations for it. I didn't, and it was down to those low expectations. The one thing that was rough to watch was Jeff Hardy, of all people. So him and
his red pants.
Yeah, and then even his shirt that he wore, they were like it was from like the early
Red
2000s.
fishnet.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like, that's not a good look anymore. Like he's a 40 something year old man. Um, it was him, and I forget who was in the ring with him. I think it was probably Ethan Page. I think it was. But so basically, he reversed this headlock and he went for a whisper in the wind. You know, he runs up the turnbuckle and does a backflip basically. He went to do that, missed the top rope when he went to push off, and just fell backwards. And it was like it wasn't like a scary fall. It was just like a bad fall, like on his side. And it was like that's kind of like the theme of the match, basically. That's kind of how it felt. Other than Hook, which Hook actually was pretty good, but he's like, I don't know, was like 23, 24 years old. So
Yeah.
everyone, like Matt and Jeff, just looked, I don't know, not great in this match, but they won. They still won. I think Jeff hit the swanton too, but yeah,
I
don't
did see a double twist of fate happen, but that's about it.
Yeah,
Early on in the match.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't like half the crowd wasn't there, I think, and that's probably a good thing too.
Well,
So it
that
wasn't
was a
off to a
buy-in,
great start.
that was the buy-in. Then I guess, which I already saw this. They did the whole countdown,
You know what's
which
crazy?
is all the video packages.
Yeah,
Let me just throw this out there. A few years ago, these guys had like the biggest WrestleMania comeback pop of all time. And now they're on the buy-in pre-show in a match with a half-empty arena.
Oh, you saw that picture?
oh, well, that photo too, that was from Brian Alvarez, who took that photo of like, was it Jeff Hardy and all them?
Yeah, it was at the buy-in. The whole other side
Yeah,
was empty.
but like that was the opposite side where the hard cam is. They don't sell tickets on that side, and like now that does WWE. Like that's how it always looks there.
Really? Why would they not do that?
They don't like they used to
That's
do it, I
not
think.
true. They sell tickets on the non-hard cam side.
They don't do it anymore. I think since COVID.
They sold all those tickets
Why would they
in
not want to make more money?
England, and now
Like remember,
they're gotten too big.
remember when we went to the
Too
show in
big for the
Baltimore? There was
britches.
like,
Mania's filled. You know, I think
well, this
Night of Champions was filled.
yeah. I think those stadium shows have more room, but I'm saying like in the arenas, like they don't sell tickets around the hard cam anymore.
Well, they should.
I'm gonna have to do some research. Jamie, look that up for us. All right, let's get into the actual show. Let's starting with this.
You know, I had
fucking mess of a match.
I had Bob Lazar on the show, and I find him very.
All right, no,
convincing.
we're not. We're not doing this. We're not. I thought you were gonna talk about the mushroom hat guy.
I
okay.
believe the guy.
Let's get. Okay, so the first official match of the pay-per-view was a fucking mess, man. Jeremy, you said you liked it. It's for the AEW International Championship. It's the Blackjack Battle Royal. Orange Cassidy versus 20 other people. All right, man. It's a battle royal. Everyone's fighting on the outside of the ring. Like,
See, I liked it if they would have explained the rules
it
so
makes
much
it
more.
hard to like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, because they didn't. They don't. The problem with AEW with their new match style sometimes they don't explain anything, and so everyone's just watching. And it's like, what is happening?
Yeah, my friend who doesn't really ever watch AEW was like, "What's the point of this?" He's like, how do you get eliminated?
yeah,
I'm just like, I don't know, man. It's a mess. Like,
yeah. So I guess the thinking was like you start on the outside because it's too crowded in the ring, but you have to go in the ring to win the match
oh my god.
because you got to throw people over and be the last one in it.
So you
But-
start on the outside, then you get in the ring.
Bad.
Is it once you're in the ring, you can't leave the ring?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh god.
bad? Not good.
All right. Well, winner, and I figured he was going to win anyway. Was Orange Cassidy. He retained.
Hey, you know that match that you did in the beginning of that pay-per-view where you started on the outside and then you went to the inside and then you maybe had to get eliminated, but we didn't really know. Yeah, don't do that again. We don't like that. I'm going to speak for all the rest of the fans.
It came down to, I believe, Orange Cassidy and Swerve.
Yeah, You know what would solve that?
Who, when he came out, there was no noise
Dead.
from the crowd. None. Dead.
Yeah.
I think Andy would have got a better reaction walking out.
But you know
So,
what? You
that
know
was
what
a
would
mess
solve
of a
it?
match.
You know what would solve it if they just did like their their what's it called? The casino
Double
battle
or
royale.
nothing with the cards. That makes
Yeah.
more sense.
Yeah, because
the Joker comes out
people
at the
come
end.
in. Yeah, that would have like solved
It's
it.
always at Double or Nothing. It's the one time they didn't do that.
Yeah, and they switched it up to this one.
Didn't explain it.
Yeah.
Well, our second match was a mess of a match to me too. Chris Jericho versus Adam Cole, unsanctioned match. Special enforcer Sabu. All right,
This match
Jeremy.
sucked.
I
You
forgot.
want to talk
this
about the
was like-
Sabu stuff? You want to talk about the Sabu stuff?
I mean, basically, Sabu.
Because I don't even know if Tim noticed it. I noticed it once the match was finally over.
Yeah,
I was
Sabu.
like, oh yeah, Sabu's the enforcer.
Yeah.
Well, where's he been the entire
He's
time?
the special enforcer for Adam Cole, I guess, like for his side. He literally comes in, makes his entrance, comes in the ring, and then immediately they start fighting with chairs. And then I forget who was on the outside that Sabu jumped off the top
It
rope.
was some of the JAS. I
Yeah.
think it was Daniel Garcia, though. He jumps off the top rope through a table.
Well,
and
jump
then
is a
basically
strong word.
Yeah, he falls off the top rope onto the table and is basically not seen the rest of the time.
Yeah, that was it. He was there for like 5
And there's
minutes.
still like 10, 15 minutes left of the match.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it. I didn't care for
didn't
the
get it.
match. Adam Cole won via stoppage. He was doing hammer fists.
That was the
And then
worst
he grabs
part,
a
though.
chain and wraps around it, and then he hits him with that. But instead of continuing to hit him with the chain around the fist, he takes the chain off and goes back to regular fists, and then it becomes a stoppage.
Yeah, I don't understand the stoppage, though, because it's an unsanctioned match, right? Like, it's the company saying, like, hey, we're not going to
They're like,
sanction it.
Jericho couldn't defend himself. If you can't defend yourself, you got to stop. This isn't UFC.
Yeah. I don't like that
Either
finish at all.
die. If he dies, he dies.
He does. So that was that match. I wish they just had a regular singles match, but because of so what else happened during the match? Britt Baker comes out and lights up Jericho, and then she lights up Saraya with the
She definitely light up
kendo
Chris Jericho.
sticks. Yeah. Oh, Tim, remember the kendo shots, Tim? To Jericho's side, you were like, God damn.
Yeah. Jericho started putting his leg up to block him.
That's
Jericho
what I
had
said
that
to Andy.
bruised shot on it.
He was supposed to say,
That's what he said.
All right. He was like, all right.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw he posted on like Twitter or whatever the shots of it on the side. And sorry, there's fireworks going off.
Let
I was like, for what? And I was like, oh yeah, it's Memorial Day.
Yeah.
wow, Andy.
Wow. Jericho posted like his side on Twitter, and it was like all messed up. And he basically was just like at real Britt Baker. He's like, you bitch, and that was like the post.
Well, now we're getting a mixed tag match: Adam Cole and Britt Baker versus Saraya and Chris Jericho.
I don't like that either. But
That's what this led to, apparently. Because Chris Jericho feuds can't end with one match in AEW.
I know that's what I was thinking too. It's like you don't need to continue it.
Moving forward. AEW World Tag Team Championship match, FTR versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, special guest referee Mark Briscoe. So I mean it was okay.
Yeah.
Like as it's like going on, and then I guess Mark Briscoe at some point counted 2 and Jeff Jarrett gets pissed off. And at some point he take a guitar to Mark. Was it an accident?
It was
on
it was
purpose?
an accident. Even though if he would have used it against FTR, he would have got disqualified. But so I don't know. He went to use it against Dax, I think, and he rolled out of the way and hit Mark. And then what's it? Aubrey Edwards.
Jeff Jarrett's wife takes a guitar to Aubrey Edwards.
Yeah. And then she falls down afterwards, which is kind of funny.
But the winners were FTR. They retained their championship.
Yeah.
After that, we had the AWTNT Championship ladder match, Wardlow versus Christian Cage. All right. couple things, but Tim, I found out we were wrong about the Arn Anderson stuff because I rewatched part of the match. We thought Arn's teeth got knocked out because we missed what happened. We were like, "Oh my god!" We were like, "He's fucked up." It's not what happened, but we'll get to that. So, this match wasn't bad. There were some spots
Yeah.
I liked.
I like this
There
one.
was the one spot when Wardlow jumped to the ladder and it fucking broke. If it were to have
That's
knees,
crazy.
those knees buckled.
Yeah.
And the ladder like fell on his shins, on Wardlow's shins. Wardlow replicated maybe better the spot of Jeff Hardy on top of the ladder through Bubba Ray through
Oh,
the
yeah.
tables at WrestleMania.
Every time Wardlow.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say Jeff Hardy when that spot at the time just rolled off. Now his ladder might have been even taller than the one Wardlow used, even
Yeah.
though that was pretty tall. But Wardlow actually did the whole arch in the back kind of swanton.
Yeah.
And that dude had to have smashed his tailbone like Tim had told me.
Oh, yeah.
It hurt
That's-
so
It was like
bad.
his tailbone's fucked. He made a face when he landed.
But I said
Jeff-
every time Wardlow.
Jeff said that he bruised his tailbone really badly from when he did it, and it looked like
yeah, so he
Wardlow
must
did
have
the
done it.
same thing.
Yeah. Every time Wardlow does a swanton, though, I'm like, this guy is like 400 pounds, and it's like a perfect
It
swanton.
looks great though. It looks great. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's because the Hardys are his favorites, and he probably practiced that so much growing up.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say the Hardys are his favorite. I should say Jeff is, because we all know Matt's not no one's favorite.
Whoa. the one Matt Hardy
okay,
will
so
not
the Arn Anderson
die.
spot. The Arn Anderson spot. He bit Luchasaurus's finger,
Yeah.
and the blood was Luchasaurus's blood around Arn's mouth.
That makes sense.
Luchasaurus's finger was bleeding or whatever. He bit pretty hard. It looked like it.
He
At
bit
least.
really hard.
He like wouldn't let go. He was like a dog with a toy.
Yeah. That was like Arn, like, probably forgetting that it's fake.
Yeah.
Arn's like,
He's like, it's still real to me.
Arn's like,
Kayfabe,
you know what I
bro,
would have
kayfabe.
done? I was about 3 seconds from pulling this Glock out and showing you what a real man is.
Oh, my God. I'm never going to forget that promo.
But Wardlow ended up winning this match. This match was one of the better ones on the card, in my opinion. Agree to disagree.
Which one? This Wardlow one?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
one of the better
yeah.
ones.
Yeah, I think so.
Especially for the gimmick matches, it was one of the better ones.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Next match was AEW's Women's World Championship match, Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm. Okay, I don't even know what to really say about this match. It wasn't very long. Hikaru Shida came out at one point with a kendo stick. The turnbuckle was exposed. Someone got sprayed. Jamie Hayter got sprayed in the face with a can of the green spray. Jeremy, we were talking about this before we started recording.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say also to keep in mind this match, Jamie Hayter was also hurt already. That's why she had to drop the title too.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Toni Storm ended up winning. She's the one that lost the championship to Jamie Hayter in the first place.
Yeah.
And apparently this feud with the Outcast will never die. So, I wasn't a fan of this match.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a
but
great
I guess
match.
They did what they had to do, I guess, whatever.
Yeah, that's what it kind of seemed like for this match. Because I think we know that Jamie Hayter's better too than this.
After that, we had House of Black versus the Acclaim and Daddy Ass. I'm gonna let you know, if you ever watch the Acclaim and Daddy Ass with someone that doesn't know who they are, it's hilarious to try to explain to them. Like
Yeah.
we had to do with Tim's wife.
Oh boy.
We were like, "That's Daddy Ass," and that guy, Anthony Bowens, yeah, he's come out to the world, but he also likes to do scissoring things. Like it's so funny to
Yeah.
explain who these people are.
It's like
And-
I always say like they're the Acclaimed, and I do like the A, and I'm like, and then their handshake is, and then you do like the scissoring. It's like, and that's where he gets scissored.
We're like, yeah. So Daddy Ass is like 62 years old,
And we're like,
and it's gigantic.
And then you scissor him. You scissor a gigantic daddy ass.
You scissor.
Oh, and that move right there that Max Scotcher just did, it was called Scissor Me Timbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Skylar, Tim's wife, was just like, all right.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to explain.
We say this shit all the time. Billy Gunn's huge.
Huge.
Gigantic.
He's massive. He was bigger than
He's bigger than every member. He's bigger than Buddy. He's bigger than Malachi. He's bigger than Brody.
He made Brody like not even like Brody's big, and he made Brody look look not that big.
Yeah.
Tim made a comment. He's like, it makes you realize that even the mid-carders during the old WWF days were freaking giant.
They were all
right.
huge. They were all because Billy Gunn. I used to think like, oh, he's just like a regular size guy, and it makes you realize like, oh no, they were all huge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So first off, this is like I think the first House Rules match that Tim has fully watched. He likes the lights.
The lights
Tim
are
likes
cool.
The lighting.
The lights are cool.
I like the lights.
But we talked about me and him. We talked about how better than the Fiend. And the way it's set up in the spotlight on the ring is kind of how wrestling was before they realized that you know the audience's reaction is pretty important.
Yeah,
I like the blacked out audience with the spotlight on the ring. I always have.
I do like it.
That's cool.
If it's a regular wrestling match, so especially I like it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh no. You go on. I gotta look something up really quick.
I was just gonna say their House of Black rules still doesn't make much sense though. Like
But they didn't need a rule apparently this time.
Yeah, like but that part they're not getting over that well because I think it was like the first one was like the best friends and like no witches and made some stupid thing, and then like the other one I don't know they faced some like random 3-guy team. And then this one, it's like they're like, we don't need a rule. Like you have to get this over first before you start making jokes about it.
Yeah,
I agree.
Sorry, I'm trying to find his rap, but basically, Max Caster had a rap last night. He talked a little bit about like emos and
he said
Malachi Black and blackface.
Yeah, and then he was like, "How are you gonna call it a House of Black when there's no black guys in it?"
Yeah, but it's funny. I'm actually
the best one. Do you have the best one?
So I don't have it line for line, but he basically talked about how Buddy Matthews is being cucked by a guy named Dominic.
Yeah.
And I'm looking here, and Rhea Ripley on Twitter posted, "Hey," and tagged Dom. We're over in 2 companies.
Yeah, that was cool.
But yeah, that was
funny.
I was trying to look at Buddy Matthews' face.
Yeah, he was trying to keep a straight face during the whole thing.
Yeah, shit's funny as shit. But
yeah.
This match was good. You know, it was a solid 6-man tag match. There was a bunch of famousers by Billy Gunn. I did not think Malachi Black's kick to Billy Gunn at the end was as good as some of his other ones.
Yeah, when that finisher, when
I mentioned it when we were watching.
Yeah, when that connects and like the person takes it well, that's like one of the best looking finishers.
Yeah, Billy Gunn was a little bit too far away.
Yeah,
he just had to be a few more inches closer. But House of Black ended up retaining their trios championships. All right, we got 3 matches left. The AEW TBS championship match, Jade Cargill versus Taya Valkyrie. I didn't expect much from this match, but it was actually pretty solid. Pretty solid wrestling match, I'd say.
Yeah, it's actually one of the best TBS championship matches I think I've seen.
Yeah,
for Jade.
Jade Cargill ended up retaining. So she was then 16-0. Smart Mark Sterling gets on the mic, says that there's no one left, and out comes after, I don't know, maybe 9 months or so. Chris Statlander returned.
That was
She's
almost
not
a whole
doing
year.
her alien gimmick. Not doing her alien gimmick, which is nice in my
Yeah.
opinion. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah.
Big pop for the crowd. They were excited to see her back. Chris Statlander, though, ends up winning, and she gives Jade Cargill her first loss and is now the second TBS champion.
Yeah. That's cool. I think it's good to end it on
Good for her.
60-0 and then switch a champion.
I agree. Okay, so the next match, which I felt was the main event. God, if you look at the TV right now, they look so stupid. Jesus. Do you guys see this?
Yes.
Tim's face. They look like Street Fighter, the Ryu and the other dude.
They do.
Anyway, so I thought this was the best match on the show. I mean, that's not too
I think
hard
so, too.
when it comes to actually wrestling. It was the AEW World Championship match. It was a fatal four-way: MJF versus Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin versus Jack Perry. MJF, this has nothing to do with wrestling. MJF was hilarious in this match.
Yeah.
If you remember, he was like, no, wait. And then Darby Allin flipped behind him as he came over and flipped him into like a stunner. And he was like, what the fuck? like it stuttered.
He also caught Sammy's kick before he was super kicking him and he caught it and he's like, you stupid motherfucker, and then Darby hits him in the head.
Yeah, MJF is hilarious. This match was good. I've always heard triple threats and fatal four ways are kind of mess and hard to do, but I thought they did really well.
Yeah.
There was a couple spots where I know Tim didn't like it, of everyone teaming up on MJF.
Yeah.
But that was kind of part of the whole story going into the match.
It kind of was.
Basically, fuck MJF.
Yeah. The one I liked is the spot with did all their mentor spots.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember. Sammy did the code breaker.
Yeah. Darby did the.
MJF did Crossroads. Darby did the Stinger Splash.
No, he did the reverse DDT.
Come on, Tim. What's it called?
Scorpion Death Drop.
Scorpion Death Drop.
Scorpion
Snack.
Death Drop. Yeah.
And then Jungle Boy did the Kill Switch.
Yeah, MJF did the Crossroads.
I'm glad MJF ended up winning though in the end, and let's talk about how he won. Okay. So first, what did he hit Darby with the Dynamite ring, or did he not get to?
No, he didn't. Because he put the title down when Darby jumped for the coffin drop.
That's how it happened. So Jungle, who was laying down? Who did he put the title on? Jungle Boy.
That's Jungle Boy. Yeah.
Jungle Boy was laying down. He put the title on top of Jungle Boy. Darby hit the cough. I was gonna say cough drop. The coffin drop. Darby Allin landed on the title.
Sick.
MJF,
That's back in.
MJF
Go back
did
into
a.
1 through 5 to hear about the cough drop.
Yeah.
I think we have one of the episodes is called Cough Drop.
Yeah.
It might be. But after Darby lands on the title, MJF grabs Darby and wins with a headlock takeover just to rub it in Darby Allin's face. Because MJF won their first bout against him with that. Darby said that he was going to win that way, and MJF just kind of rubbed it in his face.
That was a great ending.
And MJF's entrance. He was in a throne that came down slowly.
It looked like Triple H.
I was like, the kid. Me and Tim were watching. He was wearing his devil mask.
Yeah.
He looked great. MJF's the
Yeah.
man.
Everyone had a cool entrance except for Jungle Boy.
Of course.
Who
'cause
sucks?
Jungle Boy fucking
Who
sucks.
sucks? You suck, Jungle Boy.
There was a lot of cool spots. But I did enjoy this match. I thought it was done really well. The right person won.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of had a spot to shine.
Yeah. And also Sammy and what's her face?
Oh, there was a spot. Sorry, there was a spot where I forget what was going on. Oh, they were all punching each other, and MJF's like, "Come on, hit me!" And instead, he eye pokes everyone.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. Sammy
but MJF ended up winning.
and Ty, is that her name?
Oh, Sammy and Ty are having a baby. Ty is pregnant.
Yeah, and that was also the
Congrats
moment
to them. I
during
know you're listening.
the match when
Oh, Tim did not like this moment. So in the middle of the match, MJF grabs a mic, and Tim's like, "Is he gonna talk?" And he grabs a mic, and he basically was like, "Sammy, you're having a baby. Just lay down. You could use the money."
yeah.
And that did not work. Sammy ends up fighting with MJF, but Tim did not like this spot. Because it's not like the baby was a planned thing for the story, so I don't think this mic spot would have happened maybe
That's true.
if that
Yeah.
wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
And you guys got anything to add before we get into the main event?
No, I mean, I
No,
thought
for-
this was
for-
definitely
for
the
a
best
four-way,
match
it
of the
was
night.
Yeah, for a 4-way, which is hard to do, it was good.
Yeah.
Was it the best match on the show in your opinion?
Oh
What
yeah.
was the best match?
This was the
on the
best
show?
match.
Vape King over here. What about you,
Yeah,
Tim?
I was thinking. Yeah, I guess it would be.
You guess by default.
Yeah, because he didn't like any other match.
All right. Let's get into. Okay, me and Tim watched this whole thing, and you should have been there to look at the look on Tim's face the entire time was just like confusion, more of like why, like what is happening.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
kind of like the face I'm making right now.
Yeah. So Anarchy and Arena. Let's start with entrances. All right. Moxley had a band play that Jeremy was like, "Why is this guy basically doing blackface?"
Yeah,
But
That was so
it was a
fucking
bad
good.
choice.
the band,
Bad
the
choice.
band Violent Idols is playing Wild Thing, and guess what? They played it at least 5 times in a row.
It's a long song too.
Now, Jeremy reminded me, Anarchy and Arena before, they played Wild Thing for a little bit too.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Don't do that. Don't have a soundtrack or a theme
that.
song to your match.
Yeah.
So Violent Idols, me and Tim just looked at each other so confused, like, what? Like, why would you think this was a good idea?
Yeah. Especially live.
I don't
it
like
sta-
this match.
it's-
I'm just gonna.
When it started for the third time, Andy and I started busting out laughing.
Yeah. I don't like this match. There's too much going on to where things get missed with a camera. For example,
Mhm.
Moxley took a fall through onto barbed wire onto the chip. Camera goes to him. He's already on it. You missed it. Why did he do that? What did he do that spot for then?
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't even capture it. But so you had to see it through a replay. If I was there live, I wouldn't know what to pay attention to. I'd be missing things.
If they do
I'm
this
just gonna say
match like
everything I
this,
fucking hate about it.
they need to have it like planned out for the whole production. Then, like, you're gonna cut to here at this moment, cut to here then, because then it works for the viewer, but it still is a mess.
I just pictured Tony Khan in the back being like, camera 1, camera 2, 3, 5, 1, 3, 4,
The guys are trying to keep up with the
5,
buttons.
1. What else didn't I? I'm just gonna go through everything that you guys give your opinions. Everything
Yeah.
I didn't like. I hated the super kick with the spark fireworks.
So
Hey,
bad.
I looked on Instagram. Some people loved it. Some people said AEW better than WWE.
Can-
It
All right, me and
doesn't
Tim
Hold
were
on.
like, if wrestling is
on.
metal music, I guess me and Tim like classic rock.
Hold on.
All right.
Hold
I guess
on.
I'm a classic
like
rock
some-
guy.
I like this spot. I thought it was
How?
cool. Because
Where did the
it
spark
actually
come
So
worked.
that's what makes this pod work, guys. That's what makes this pod work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did the spark come
I-
from?
I mean, I have no idea,
Shoe.
but
there was something attached to his shoe.
yeah, it actually
but-
worked on like the exploding barbed wire thing.
So he super kicks them, and now the Jacksons have magical powers that can make someone's head explode when you super kick them.
I don't think it was supposed to be
Didn't
like
Jericho
magical.
light someone on fire backstage because he's a wizard?
He's
during
doing
this
like fireballs.
pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Didn't something happen there with fire on this pay per view
On this one?
backstage?
I don't remember
I
that.
thought Tim was like, I don't know, man. Didn't like that spot. I'm a superhero nerd, so I'd like Kenny's little Captain America with the trash can lid.
Oh
thing,
yeah,
even
yeah.
though it was silly. even though it was silly.
He did that
but
before too.
Did he?
Unlike
Yeah,
Dynamite.
he was
or
wearing
something.
Captain Canada. He was wearing Captain Canada gear, basically. What else? I've said this before. I don't like props or weapons that are pre-made
Yeah.
and like put out there.
There's a lot of that.
There was tax spots in this match.
That-
R.I.P. to Matt Jackson's foot.
Oh, I felt that one. Stepping on
That was
tax?
pretty gnarly. Yeah,
Ugh.
and then who else went through? Though someone's back hit it. Kenny? No, Kenny went on a barbed wire.
Yeah.
Nick Jackson might have.
I think so.
I don't know, man. Brian Danielson basically was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not doing any of these fucking
Yeah, he
spots."
didn't do it.
So he was basically unscathed.
Yeah.
They tried to make Wheeler Yuta look cool, so they gave him a vest. Same with Cesaro. Cesaro, who also I don't think bled, and Wheeler didn't bleed. They were like, "That's all you, Moxley. You guys take the
Was all
fucking
Moxley.
these fucking spots."
Moxley was like, probably like, fine, it's more for me.
Don Callis was on commentary. Thank God JR was not out there for this match because it would have been quiet the entire time.
Yeah.
BCC ended up winning. Is there anything else?
Well, you gotta say Don Callis came off of commentary to go down to the ring.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what he did though. He had handed someone a screwdriver.
No, he stood in the
Right.
ring, and then Omega was gonna hit the Fallen Angel on I forget who, or Yuta, and then he turned around and saw him, and then what's his name? Takesha came in.
Oh, that's right. Takeshita takes shit and got aligned himself with the BCC. And Taz, or no, Excalibur, I think, said at the end, is Takeshita and Callis with the Blackpool Combat Club, or were they just helping him?
Yeah.
So now we have an Asian guy, a guy from Japan, joining the Blackpool Combat Club,
Yeah. And then
and no one's from Blackpool. Yeah, a Japanese guy joining a guy from a Blackpool Combat Club. No one's from Blackpool.
yeah. And then Wheeler Yuta, or no, yeah, then Wheeler Yuta hit Omega with the screwdriver in the face, then won.
BCC kind of dominated this match.
They did, yeah. Other than like a few spots. And then I don't know if you saw afterwards. I'll just like go through it, but afterwards, Omega basically cut a promo to the crowd, basically saying like he has a friend or two that could help them out. So it's probably going to be Ibushi, and I don't know who else. But
To bring me back to the vest thing, Brian Danielson must have just been like, "Nah, I'm not gonna look fucking dumb in a vest. I'm wearing a sweatshirt with cut off sleeves."
yeah, he was just like, I'm not doing any of your stupid like.
And you were stupid shit, Moxley. All right. Apparently, though, Danielson now is part of creative.
Well, he's going to be, I think, for the Saturday show, I think, right? Or is it just overall?
For Collision? I don't know, man. Okay, that was my take on the match. Anyone else want to add good things, bad things?
No, I'm done.
Tim's basically like, I agree with everything you said, Andy.
All right. Well, I'll say that I liked at least the super kick thing that I know you guys didn't like. Yeah, I don't. I mean,
What did you like?
I just like the matches when it is.
Hangman almost ate shit running up the ropes and to
that was
do
kind
the
of funny,
moonsault.
actually. Though.
And the eye patch has been looking stupid.
Yeah,
I'm
and
glad
he
took
took
it
it
off.
off. Yeah, and that was like very anticlimactic too. Yeah, I mean that was kind of it. Other than like some actual wrestling from Danielson in the ring.
No one gives a shit, by the way, that these two just won the titles. No one in the audience cares if you're watching.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean it wasn't like I don't like that. I would rather have it like blood and guts instead of this.
Just,
Well, does that wrap it up?
I don't have anything to add.
Yeah, that's basically it then.
All right, for classic show of the week this week, we unfortunately lost superstar Billy Graham. So no classic show of the week, but go on YouTube, Peacock, look up superstar Billy Graham matches. Rest in peace, superstar. Your influence has trickled down over many generations, including guys like Hulk Hogan who looked up to you. And well, thank you so much for joining us for episode 85. And come back next week for episode 86, where we talk all things pro wrestling at the PW Fan. Adrenaline in my soul. Did you know my dad was
my dad was Dusty Rhodes?